Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Tech Bytes with Keshav. In earlier video, we discussed about useful static code analysis tools. In this video, we will discuss about useful debugging techniques. Now, to start with, whenever there is a bug or defect, tester or a support team will raise a ticket mentioning steps to reproduce that issue. Right. Now, for a developer, steps to reproduce can be useful for initial phase of investigation. But if still issues not detected, then what? So on that note, I would like to give some suggestions that can be used during development phase so that issues can be avoided, traced easily. So let's get started. First of all, I would say that we should consider test cases, whether it's unit test case or integration test case while writing, when a developer is writing those. We should consider it not just for the sake of writing. We should consider them very seriously, and they are very helpful. And say if even a single small bug is detected by that test case, so it will save that bug reaching to production, right? So now I will try to explain that benefit of the test case with an example. I created this student class. We have a connector with student connector, and this is a student client class which will fetch a student detail for a particular with a particular roll number, right? And I've created in this test class, I've created that. So it should be like, this is a piece of information for that particular student that should be using mocked, it should be fetched. We have name, roll number, class name, and this. And in this, I have used that Pojo for student, which can parse name, roll number, class name, and department. So let's see when we try to run this test case. Initially, when we simply ran it, it is passing. Okay, sounds good. When we try now, we will try to debug it. Response code 200, that's cool. Okay. Now, okay, debugging is also, we can say that everything is working as expected on a high level. So test case is working fine. Okay. Now let's take this test case more seriously and let's deep dive into it. Okay. So now I would say, let's go let that flow it should go that flow and ultimately reach over there at line number 51 assert equals. We will wait for that. Okay, it has reached. Now if we deep dive into it, we can see that name is getting passed, roll number, class name, class section, these all details it is picking it up from here, this one, from this file student.json. But department, it is not picking it up. And this we can analyze only, either scenario would be when this bug has reached to become a defect and reached to production, right? And then now see this scenario over here also, we can see department as null, right? So where we went wrong, everything API properly called, response properly passed, everything is getting into picture, correctly passing happening, but still only one field is not. So this, now with this test case we can, now the problem over here is that if we see it, as per API response, department is coming into which field, key name, it's DEPT, right? And then we have used this class for parsing. Over here we have mentioned it as department. it is not getting mapped. DEPT is not getting mapped to department, so that's why it never assigned that value of DEPT to department. So for us it is as null. So without test case, this would have been gone to production as a and have become as a defect. Now to avoid this, as part of test case, if we take it seriously, we have identified a problem which is a major problem, right? So we can over here we can use it this annotation, and over here we were expecting actual, it will be coming over here like in DEPT, right? So we have to mention that as a over here DEPT. Throughout the code we will refer it with this variable name, but actual when parsing will happen, DEPT as part of API response key will be mapped to this department. Now let's see this, whether the problem is resolved or not. Indeed, yes, it has been resolved, right? So we ought to know that with the test case, a big problem which could have become a defect later while going to production, and the cost of fixing a defect when it reaches to production is quite high, and then downtime. So we should definitely take the test cases very seriously and thoroughly. We should do the testing like this. So now next would be, along with the test cases, definitely we should not only logging is also very much important, I would say. In my past experience, I have many problems were means we could trace using logging. So it's not like that only we should log exceptions, but we can also log in certain cases, maybe at a lower log level, maybe a debug level, trace level, API response codes and API responses in certain cases. Now, when I say about that logging API response code, that is fine in any case, whether it's 200, 400, 20, it's 429, something like 500, anything, we should log that response code. Maybe at a lower log level to avoid yeah. But if we talk about logging API responses, then we have to be careful. But if we if we feel like API is returning something that is a sensitive piece of code, like API to get access token will return access token, that we should ideally not log at logging in a logging file, right? Other than that, I have personally seen in certain cases for 200 API responses also, the required data that we need, we are not getting that, right? So if that data is not so much sensitive and there's a trade-off, so we can log API responses also, maybe at a log level or at the trace level as per the requirement. So now if we see over here, get student with roll number, we have this. Now I have logged it this student response code at this debug level, right? Now API response also, get student API response. Okay, here it is, response API response, it should be, yes. So response code is printed over here, and then API response is printed over here. And if it is like 200 API response code, then we have it like passed using JSON library, right, to student Pojo, and then it will return over here from here. If it is not there, this is not the scenario. If it's a body is null, or its response is not 200, then we can go for custom exceptions. I've created this custom exception class, and then we can return this. And yes, here also we can pass it like API response, right? And anyway, this will be required, because if it is It may not be helpful if the API response is null, but if it is other than 200, so here we can attach it to this student class. So just it should be like string dot format. Okay, it has been declared inside this. So we can go for this approach also. Like if we have it like at a debug level, we can do it like this, because there is a condition that if it is not null, right? If it is not null, and then we can mention it over here also. Yeah, we can push it like this. Not null scenario, API response, and format of the code. So it says, now what's the error? Okay, we have to satisfy that also. So throw new student exception. This is a general failure. Get means case of null, we have body response. Get student operation failed. So it will land up over to this block now. Now this is a case if body is not null. Now response code, anyway we are printing. If body is not null, we will fetch the API response. We can fetch. Now we can print it depending, but we have to be careful for this. Sensitive piece of information should not be idly logged. And then if it is 200, then we have passing using Pojo, using JSON library, and then Pojo class, and then directly returning that. And if it is like, this is the 200 case, and if it is like not null, and then like for status, it should be like now 429 for something, 500, 503, 400 bad requests, anything apart from 200, actually AP response will be through as part of exception will be displayed, right? Will be logged. So this is for general failure. If we have if the response is not is null, so then we can't don't have any AP response to be printed. Anyway, in both the scenarios will land up over here. Now here, depending upon the scenario, if it is like operation means we want failure or something like that, we want to return to the back to the uh, platform, or we want exception to be it depends on the scenario. If it is like nested function, if it is not a parent function, then we can so directly throw this exception. If it's like the parent function, then we can as per the scenario or as per the platform, we can return failure in what form that is expecting. So I considering this as a nested function get student. So whatever exception will come, I have rethrown the same, right? I think so. As part of this I would recommend that we should follow these techniques. So that ultimately that will come out to be benefit for us also only, right? All right, guys. So that was all about from this video. If you like the video, please do like it, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe for the more videos, uh, for the related videos on the way. Thank you.